Hey guys, welcome to PBHS Edge, another episode. My name is AJ. I'm accompanied by Mr. Woodward, Mr. Ellis, Ongad, and Rashad. So, last week we had some good games. As for my Seattle Seahawks, we played something that's called defense for once in our lives. We did have a little defensive breakdown, but overall, Trey Flowers is benched, so I'm glad. He's needs to get cut, not bench. He needs to get cut. I don't ever want to see him in a Seattle jersey again, given the way that he played against the Vikings. But we played a good game, and now we're just going to pass it off to Mr. Woodward.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think that last week was a great week for the NFL in terms of the some of the big teams winning and some of the teams that are on the up, winning games too. Now I can't say that one of those teams was my Patriots, but I did enjoy the battle that was TB12's return to Foxborough. That was made for TV watching, man, and it was great. It was a great football game. The weather was good. It was raw. It was cold, and it was cold for October, early October, and it was raining, and we had everything except a victory, which unfortunately, doink, Nick Folk good from 55, but 56 just a bit too far for him. Tough week.
As for my Washington football team, we finally did something called offense. We saw TNT blow up. As y'all may not know, that's a new name for our dynamic duo, Terry and Taylor. Heineke played amazing. That man is a magician. I don't know how he just learned how to do what he did. If you saw his second touchdown throw to Terry McLaurin, kind of reminded me of Kyler Murray with the shiftiness and that fadeaway throw. And Terry McLaurin, he's a beast. He's on a mission this season.
Yeah, man, for my Ravens, what can I say? Handle business as usual. Lamar played really good. Finally used his arm, 300 plus passing yards, which is pretty good. I love how we're starting to incorporate more passing games, like with like Sammy Watkins and Hollywood Brown starting to actually catch his balls and make nice touchdown plays. So I'm pretty happy with the offense right now, and the defense, is the defense. So I really like how we're playing right now.
Interesting to hear everyone talking about a positive that they have from their team. I don't have any to report at this point. This is by far going to be the strangest Steelers season that I can remember, and it just has a feel of a season that's already over, a feel like a ghost town, and it's really frightening. And the boys have not come back to town. I'm sorry, Phil Lynott. We're just we have not yet returned. We're still waiting for the boys to be back in town. We're hoping it's this weekend, and we're hoping it's the guy we're paying $30 million on the one side, and the guy we're paying $20 million on a prorated on the other side. Let's see what they can deliver. Right now, it's been pretty much a bag of donuts.
Yes, those were all very disappointing seasons so far for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Lamar, the Ravens, their defense was on point. Taylor was really, really clutch up in the fourth quarter. Very, 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 very clutch. So as for our first game, we're going to be going against the Colts. It's going to be the Colts versus the Ravens. Baltimore's going to be riding a 3-game win streak when they return home to take on the Indianapolis Colts. Carson Wentz played his best game of the season, leading the Colts to a victory 27-17 over the Dolphins. But then again, come on now. Is there much I need to say? The excuse was Carson Wentz doesn't have an O-line in Philly when he didn't. But now, is he really playing good football? That's all I'm going to say. My prediction for this game, I have the Ravens winning at a score 28-10.
If we look at this matchup, it already seems lopsided. The Ravens defense has stars. Some are injured, but they've shown up. Chuck Clark is one of the people I've seen show up. And if you look at the Colts on the other side of the ball, their offense just seems lackluster. Jonathan Taylor isn't performing the way we thought he would. And Carson Wentz is being Carson Wentz. So that's not shocking. Just like my screen, I think the Colts will match the score being just blacked out. I don't think they're going to score a point. I have the Ravens winning this 17-0.
Yeah, even after a strong performance put on by Carson Wentz against the Dolphins, coming to Baltimore on a Monday night game is going to be tough. Defenses always want Lamar Jackson to beat them with his arm, and he's shown that he can do that, posting 300 yards per passing against defense, the Denver defense in Denver. So, I mean, I think this game's gonna be lopsided. Baltimore is gonna blow out Indianapolis 35-13.
Yeah, I can't really go against this, but before I start, on God, I thought you were just representing for the Paint Branch Blackout tomorrow night for the game against Blake. So I like that. I like what you're doing, getting started early. This one, the Ravens return home in prime time where they always come to play, man. The Ravens are definitely made for prime time. It's one thing I've seen over the last number of years. And so they're taking on a good defense in the Colts. And I think it's a little bit troubling for the Ravens right now. I mean, I know they're winning and Lamar's being Lamar, but, he's only accounted for 6 touchdowns all year, 4 passing and 2 rushing. And that will worry me a little bit as a Ravens fan. Now, this game doesn't worry me because ultimately the Ravens are going to be too much for the Colts. It always seems like a city. One thing I was thinking about with this one, I was like, why is Ravens Colts striking me? And I realized, it's one of those ones where the Colts are the former Baltimore Colts. They left in '83, so I always like to see that team come back to the home city. In this case, the Ravens, and take a beating. And that's definitely going to happen tonight. I think this one's going to be Ravens for sure in prime time, 30-17. Paying them back once again for departing in 1983. Although I am rooting for one thing. I'm rooting for the Colts to hold the Ravens under 100 yards rushing. I don't even want to talk about that stuff from last week.
Yeah, this looks like a matchup that's not going to go well for the Indianapolis Colts. That said, though, Carson Wentz played really well last year against the Ravens. If you guys remember, I mean, I know, Shab, you remember that game became an unexpected nail-biter very late. At the same time, this Carson Wentz looks like damaged goods mentally and physically, and this Ravens defense can be fired up. Ravens are on fire right now. It's going to be an easy win, 34-14.
You are definitely right. Mr. Ellis and Anga, you are definitely right. Carson Wentz is being Carson Wentz right now. It's just what you expect from Carson Wentz. It's no surprise. I wasn't expecting him to go off or turn up just because he went to a new team. But for our second game, we have the Steelers going up against the Denver Broncos. Now, most of us said last week that the Broncos were going to upset the Ravens. But, Rashad, you got it, bro. You got it. The Ravens came out with the big W. Their defense was absolutely suffocating. They brought the pressure. And, the Broncos are definitely going to bring the pressure to Big Ben. Big Ben comes clutching sometimes, but this year it's just not happening at all. I'm sorry, Mr. Ellis. Sorry for throwing a little diss there, but I just do not see the Steelers winning right now. I mean, their offense is just failing to show me that they could overcome adversity. So I just feel that the Broncos are going to beat the Steelers by a score of 28-14.
When you see something that's like damaged and not doing good, you take pity on them. And I think of that when I look at the Steelers. I think they're just getting lucky. The Broncos lost Teddy Bridgewater against the Ravens, and I'm not sure if he'll come back to play against Steelers. And the Steelers are lucky if they can play Drew Lock. I would love to play Drew Lock every other week. That man is just not a good quarterback. And I think the Steelers will be able to get their second win of the season. I don't think they're going to get many more after this week, but this is looking like a favorable matchup for the Steelers. Hopefully, Mr. Ellis's favorite Steelers player, TJ Watt, finally shows up. And I have the Steelers winning this 24-17.
Pittsburgh has been a mess this season. Ben's making costly mistakes that he usually doesn't make. But however, I do think the injuries to Teddy Bridgewater and that Denver defense that surrendered 400 yards of total offense for the Ravens. Keep in mind they lost Bradley Chubb and Patrick Surtain, for example. I think the Steelers have a very good chance of winning against this Denver team. I mean, as Ongad said, Drew Lock is not a very good quarterback, and the Denver defense is banged up. So I think I would just have to go with Pittsburgh here. I think them playing in Pittsburgh gives them the advantage. So, I'll give it to Pittsburgh 17-10.
Yeah, it looks like people are giving a little bit of the credit to the Steelers for being at home. Excuse me, in this one. And I think I have to agree with them. Drew Lock lost the quarterback battle to Teddy Bridgewater in camp. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback. I think he's perfect for this team, a strong defense. He manages the ball on offense, and that's going to equal some wins. But not having him this week and putting Drew Lock out there, who, as Ongad said, he's not a great quarterback. I mean, he didn't beat out Teddy Bridgewater. And, Teddy Bridgewater is a decent quarterback. So this Pittsburgh D is still the best part of their team. And let's be clear, TJ Watt was back last week. And as much as I know it pains Mr. Ellis to think of it, he had 2 sacks and it brought some pressure. And I think that's what's going to pave the way for this one. I think you see this as kind of an ugly game. It's not going to be pretty on offense at all. I think it's definitely going to be the Steelers 16-13.
Fellas, I admire your optimism. I don't share it. I look at last year's matchup with Denver, a game we almost lost when we were a much better team. Drew Lock, second half of that game last year, I think he threw for over 200 yards in the second half against us in that game last year. They came within a whisker of tying us. They got within the 30 in that game. It was ugly. And I look at how we are right now and which team has improved since then. Denver. Quarterback position will take a huge hit if Bridgewater does not play, but they've got a great running game. Melvin Gordon's got a 70-yard touchdown this year. All of a sudden, okay? You talk about resurrected running backs. That's significant. I expect them to pound us on the ground because we're not good at stopping the run. We allowed Green Bay to run us at will. They ran us on third down twice. This is not your Steeler defensive old, and it's because number 90 is the anchor. Number 90 takes plays off. Number 90 takes series off. By the way, anybody noticed that he didn't play the third series of the game? He's exhausted. Third series of the game. He's already on the sideline. Give me a break. This guy represents our defense. That's why we stink. Final score, Denver 17, Steelers 16. Extremely painful game to watch.
Mr. Ellis, you sound very sad, just glooming in the very dark room that you're sitting in. The Steelers memorabilia is just covered up in darkness. So hey, it's gonna be all right.
He's the ghost of Steelers past back there.
And for our third game, we have the Patriots versus the Texans. This Sunday, we'll see the Patriots travel to NRG Stadium to take on the Texans. The 2 matchups between both clubs resulted in the Patriots losing both games. But the Pats defense is going to have to be the main reason that they're going to win this game. Their defense is going to have to really, really, really turn up and really show up. I have the Patriots winning this game, score of 31-6.
I always like to say, shout out Mr. Woodward. He almost predicted the upset over the Buccaneers. None of us thought that would happen. I was shocked looking at that score. I missed the first half. I saw halftime. I was like, wow, these Patriots are probably playing out their skins the way they're containing Tom Brady. And I think that's a good boost for them. It shows them like we're a developing team, but like we can do good. Like, damn guys, we're stepping it up. This team is, I heard it on the broadcast of the show. This team is going to be better in a month than it is now. And they're just going to keep getting better. And as for the Texans, they have nothing going for them. Like, their quarterback is Davis Mills. He's just not ready to play in the NFL right now. Only bright spot they have is Brandon Cooks, but he's not going to be a one-man army and carry them to this win. I have Mac Jones somehow pulling up and playing well. I have the Patriots winning this 28-7.
Coming into this game, the Patriots are highly favored, which makes sense. Houston has not been a team that has been highly praised coming into the season, obviously. And behind Davis Mills, I don't think they can get past the New England Patriots. Considering what Bill does to, rookie QBs, Zach Wilson, for example, I just don't think it's going to fare out well for them. And, considering how they played against Tampa Bay, which was really good, it's just not going to be, I don't know about Houston. Like, I don't think they're going to. But good luck to Davis Mills and that Houston team. Pats 33-14.
It warms my heart to hear all these kind Patriots words. It really does. It's been tough being a Patriots fan all these years. This is the rookie quarterback battle that everyone has waited for. It's Mac Jones against Davis Mills, right? I mean, come on. It's so funny. So many rookie quarterbacks starting in the NFL right now. I know this one's because of injury, but still. This could be a trap game for the Pats, though, as everyone is, pounding the Texans. They're just taking a beating every single week. And Patriots are probably going to have a little come down from the TB12 TB12 game. By the way, I'm starting to think, that whole TB12 thing. I think it refers to Super Bowl appearances rather than his jersey number. I mean, he's at 10 and counting at this point in time. But I say all those things because there's not a whole lot to look at in this game. I would love to see Mac Jones have a big offensive output because, he played great the other night, 19 passes in a row in the rain. I thought that was a great stat for him. He played Tom Brady like. And this is one of the games where he needs to continue building on that, get more connection with his receivers, find the two favorite guys that he wants to go to all the time. And I hope this is the one. I do see them having a little bit of a breakout 27-13 Pats.
Boy, how crazy would an upset be here? How interesting would that shift in narrative, right? But it's not happening. I got the return of the Max, 30, the Davis Love, the thirds, 3.
All right. And for our next game, we have the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Rams. So for this game, my Seattle Seahawks, we're just not ready for the Rams. I mean, let's be honest. We're not ready for Cooper Kupp. We're not ready for Matthew Stafford. I mean, the first game that we saw Matthew Stafford, new colors, new coach, new city. He just ran those play action passes, launched the ball down the field, big gain or touchdown, one of the two. And our defense is not ready for that. Our defense is not ready for Cooper Kupp. Jalen Ramsey's going to be bringing the pressure on DK Metcalf. Last year when they played, DK Metcalf had only 44 yards on Jalen Ramsey. I mean, that just says enough as it is already. So I have the Rams actually winning this game for a score of 31-24.
The Seahawks haven't had a great season so far. Russell Wilson is not performing as well as he usually does when the season starts. And if you look at the Rams, they've had an amazing season so far. But last week we saw that they're a beatable team. They're not as amazing as we thought. The Cardinals gashed them and tore them up. And I think the Seahawks could potentially beat these Rams. But after getting punched in the mouth like that, I feel like Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey are going to come back with a little chip on their shoulder and win this game 31-20.
Los Angeles has been off to a great start this season with Matthew Stafford under center, but coming off a tough loss to the Red Heart Cardinals, who are the only undefeated team in the NFL right now, and having a short week traveling to Seattle, by the way, the Rams are going to be tested against Seattle. And, I'm basing Seattle's win off of solely home field advantage. Coming into, Seattle Stadium, the crowd has always been known to be loud. And then I just don't think that, Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll would, surrender another loss. And, I do have Seattle winning this 30-27, but Seattle is going to get a game-winning field goal led by Russell Wilson on a game-winning drive.
Rashab, I hear you. That short week, and that private jet up to that cool weather in the Pacific Northwest, that's going to be a battle for them, right? They're going to come out hungry, the Rams. They're going to be ready to play. They are not happy about the way they played last week. And I think it's definitely going to be a great game because we have the same thing every single week in the NFC West, a great quarterback matchup. And this week we have Russell Wilson and his 9 TD passes and Matthew Stafford and his 11. So that ball is going to be flying through the air. And it's going to ultimately come out with the Rams taking this one, getting back on the winning track, 30-23.
I like the exact same score there, Mr. Wood, but the opposite team.
Ooh.
I kind of think the Rams are a little bit overrated. I just do. I mean, they gave up some points last week. They've given up points in other games. Matthew Stafford, okay, we can talk about his big games against the horrific teams in the first couple of games, but how did he do last week compared to Kyler Murray? Just saying. Stafford, he's October Stafford. Here comes November Stafford. It can be even worse. And December Stafford's hurt. 30-23, Hawks.
All right. So our next game, we have the Washington football team versus the New Orleans Saints. So New Orleans quarterback, from going to the biggest meme in NFL, from people saying he has the best vision in the NFL, for people saying that he's the best quarterback in the NFL, for people saying that MVP, he's the greatest of all time, for the guy that had 30 interceptions in the season, which he was 12 interceptions off of breaking the NFL record for most interceptions thrown in an NFL season. We have Jameis Winston against Taylor Heineke. All right. we all saw what Taylor Heineke did last week. He was crazy. Him, Terry, their connection is just it's just gonna be it's just amazing just to just watch and just see how easy they click and just connect. But Jameis Winston the first week threw 5 touchdown passes, caught everyone off guard. But I have the Washington football team actually coming up with an upset, 31-28.
As you can see, I'm sitting in the dark, but you know who's no longer in the dark? Terry McLaurin. That man has been a star since day one, week one against the Eagles when he hit that 60-yard touchdown in his first game. And people have just kept their eyes closed with him. People were trying to suspect, oh, he's not top 10. Oh, he's not even top 15. Oh, DK Metcalf's better. AJ Brown's better. Look at his season right now. Show me 5 wide receivers better than him, 4 wide receivers. I'll hear Stephon Diggs, all those big names. Sure, they're better than him. Terry McLaurin is top 5, and I do not want to hear anything else. He has gone above and beyond this season. Him and Taylor Heineke are just clicking, and I am loving what I'm seeing. And right now, he's on pace of the greatest season by Washington receiver ever. And I think he'll do it. But when the Saints come marching in, as they love to say in Yola, I have a deep love for the Saints now, as my family is there. And I just hope this is going to be a good game. I love both teams, but obviously I'm going to stick with my Washington football team. Terry McLaurin is going to get another touchdown. He's going to keep up. Hope he gets another 100-yard game. I have us winning this one, 31-21.
Scary Terry has been a beast this whole season, man. His strong performances, I agree with you, his strong performances should put him into the top 10 wide receiver conversation, if not top 5. Yeah, even though the Saints are coming off a crushing OT loss to Daniel Jones and the Giants, Washington's D-line is going to have a game this year. I just checked. Teron Armstead has a possibility of being out this game. So go luck to Jameis Winston. 24-14 Washington football team coming out with the win.
Yeah, this week should be a good one for the football team. The Saints they seem to be hot and cold this year. And I look for this one. They were cold last week, losing to the Giants. I think they're going to have a cold week. And I think the football team's definitely going to be in the driver's seat in this one. And I feel like a broken record. I've said this pretty much every week now, and I'll say it again. I got to assume the Washington defense is going to show up one day. Like 1 week, they're going to bust out. That's what everybody keeps saying. We may be looking at week 17 and we'll say, but this could be the week that the defense finally breaks out. But what I think needs to happen is I think Jack Del Rio needs to go Bill Belichick on him and tell Sweat and Young and all those great D linemen, just do your job. Just do your job. And the pressures, the sacks, and the turnovers will come. That's what they need to do. Just do your job. They are so talented and they have everything. They just need to stop looking for it and just do their job, and that defense will come out. And when they come out, they're gonna be a difference maker. And I think in this one, with the great way that Taylor Heineke is playing and Terry McLaurin, as you said, this is going to be a good one for the football team. 23-17 win here this week.
Man, it's such a strange game to pick because, neither team's any good, but which team is going to screw up less than the other is kind of what I think we're looking at in a game like this. I mean, Washington has been fortunate to win 2 games they won. They didn't play well in either of them, in my opinion. I don't think they've played a good game yet, in my opinion. And maybe this is going to be the first one. I think Heineke's got a lot of confidence, and so maybe this is the time. I still think it's going to be a struggle of a game, but I like Washington to win it, 23-20.
All right. For our next game, we have the 49ers versus the Cardinals. Now, if you ask me, the Cardinals are red hot right now. They are red hot right now. 4-0. I feel that this game, the Cardinals are just going to toy with the 49ers, if you ask me. That's just my opinion. You can definitely expect an evasive Kyler Murray to do what he does best, run around, juke everybody out, make the defense look like complete fools, and launch the ball down the field because he has one rocket of an arm. I have the Cardinals winning this game 28-17.
AJ, close your ears because I'm about to say something you haven't heard in your whole lifetime. The Cardinals are looking like the best team in the NFL. I just can't seem to decide teams better than them. The Buccaneers are good, sure, but everything's clicking for the Cardinals right now, and it's insane how well it is going for them. And it's just crazy. Everyone's saying Kyler Murray needs to show up. He's been okay above average, but he needs to become a superstar. And what does he do? He comes out blazing up the fields and torching every game. And I just feel bad for the 49ers because they're just going to toss him aside so like some fodder. I have the Cardinals winning this one 31-7.
think I'm kind of going against what everybody's saying. Arizona still remains the only undefeated NFL team led by Kyler Murray, but considering this is a divisional matchup against for the Cards, like I don't think this will be easy for the Cards because divisional matchups are divisional matchups. The NFC West division is like one of the toughest divisions to play in. I do believe that the 49ers will give the Cardinals a good fight. Trey Lance makes his NFL debut against the Cardinals, so I'm gonna gamble here. I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm going to take the 49ers to win this, but in a close game, 23-20.
All right. So this one is interesting, so Trey Lance will get his first start as we've heard, getting his first start, but I expect this to go the way that it has for every rookie quarterback not named Mac Jones. I think it's going to be a tough day at the office for Trey Lance in this one. And, for those, folks who might say to themselves, well, he's going to be tough for the Arizona defense. He's mobile. Well, think about who Arizona practices against every single day, Kyler Murray, right? And so Kyler Murray preps them every single week for a guy like Trey Lance. And, to quote a former vice presidential candidate, Lloyd Benson, who said, I've seen Trey Lance play, and he's no Kyler Murray. So another better battle in this game, even than what's happened in the scoreboard, might be Chandler Jones against Trent Williams. That's a battle for the ages right there. Those two guys are going to be going at it all day long. Chandler Jones has got 5 sacks already, 3 in one game. And Trent Williams has just been bullying and pancaking guys left and right for the Niners. So while the Cardinals are the clear pick for me in this one, 34-13, my eyes are going to be on that matchup between those two because that's going to be dirty and ugly. And those guys are just going to be beating each other all day long. And that's football right there.
I think it's pretty tough to get up for 2 big games in a row, especially 2 big division games. And also the pressure of being undefeated when you're Cliff Kingsbury and you really haven't put together even a 10-game stretch of consistency in the NFL yet, let's remember, despite this great start. So I'm going to go with the Niners here. I just feel like they're going to do enough to win this game. They might get a special teams TD. They're going to gut it and scrap it out. Plus, you have the unknown factor at quarterback, and I do think that's going to be an interesting wrinkle. I even look back to 2013 when the Steelers weren't that good. We came in playing against Baltimore when Baltimore was a much better team with Le'Veon Bell coming back and catching the ball in the backfield, direct snapping, and like stuff we never saw us do. I think you're going to see that from the Niners too. It'll be enough to throw it off. I like 21 San Fran, 17 Arizona. They got to lose sometime, man. They're not. I mean, they're playing great, but it's still the Arizona Cardinals until they prove otherwise.
All right. So for our next game, we have Mr. Ellis's Cleveland Clowns going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. So for this game, you obviously see Mr. Ellis's Cleveland Clowns, but they're actually called the Cleveland Browns. I guess it's just a little bit of bad blood between Mr. Ellis and the Cleveland Browns. But the Browns are definitely, in my eyes, Super Bowl contenders. But Justin Herbert is very, very hot right now. He is playing good football, but this is going to be definitely going to be a very, very good game between the two. It's definitely going to be a battle. We're going to be looking at the 2 quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Justin Herbert. And my prediction for this game, I got the Browns overcoming this one with a score of 34-31.
That's a super bold statement right there, AJ. Browns being Super Bowl contenders. Wow, I can't agree with that. I think the Chargers have a better case than the Browns. Justin Herbert's playing amazing. Mike Williams is playing out of his skin. Keenan Allen's playing great. And Austin Eckler is being Austin Eckler. And Jared Cook is actually coming through when he's needed. And I love what I'm seeing from the Chargers. They're playing fluid offense. And on the other hand, their defense is amazing. And I love Derwin James. He's always been one of my favorite players. He's just an amazing safety. This game, I have it going to the Chargers 28-21.
Yeah, I don't know about the whole Super Bowl contending teams yet for the Browns. I don't think they're there yet. Like Angad said, I think the Chargers have a better shot right now. But Justin Herbert has been absolutely phenomenal this season, coming off a good win against Vegas. I think they'll keep it rolling against a really good Cleveland team whose defense has been stout recently, but their offense, I don't know, they just haven't seemed to be getting it clicking. But I'm taking Herbert over Mayfield this week. Chargers 24-19.
I know I kidded Rashab earlier about saying the private jets up to the Pacific Northwest is not really going to be tiring for anybody, but I'm actually going to mention in this one, I think fatigue might actually be an issue for the Chargers, even though they're at home in this one. They played Monday night, and that game started late because there was a lightning delay somehow in an indoor stadium. But anyway, that took place. But this one, I think fatigue could be a factor because the Browns are going to be looking to establish the run with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I think that's going to be their game plan. Wear them down, keep the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands, try to keep the score low. Now, that being said, I think the Chargers are for real. I picked against them last week because I said I was drinking the Raiders Kool-Aid. This week, the Kool-Aid I'm drinking is the Chargers. Justin Herbert's last two games, 25 for 38, 3 touchdowns. Game before that, 26 for 38 with 4 touchdowns. That's consistency. I look for the Chargers to make it 3 straight, 23-20.
Well, I tell you what, fellas, it's going to be the insane clown posse out there in Los Angeles. I mean, they're going to have 99% of the crowd there. You youngins out there, you ever heard of the ICP, man? Y'all ever heard of the insane clown posse, man? Y'all look them up on YouTube and get a good yuck or 10, man. They're hilarious beyond belief. Just check it out. Believe me.
Yeah,
Almost as hilarious
ICP.
as it used to be to talk about the clowns. But see, the thing is now we stink and they're pretty good. And in fact, they're kind of like us and we're like them. It's almost like we flip spots. They're physical. They run the ball well and attack. They got the big bruising backs. They got the receivers that'll get tough and stretch the field, like the Landrys, like the Hines Ward. I mean, they have clones on all these different sides of the ball. The only difference is they have this quarterback who's not good. He's hiding behind so many things. You know what I mean? He's like the wizard, hiding behind the curtain. I mean, he's the masquerader, man. The only thing preventing poor Cleveland from finally winning a championship because they've got everything else in this football team, man. And I'd be lying if I denied it any longer. I mean, and the Minnesota game actually impressed me in many ways in that way, the way the defensive line played. Basically, the way the entire team rallied around the fact that their quarterback stinks, something the Steelers have not been able to do yet. So at the end of the day here, I've got to go to the Browns, and I think they're going to handle this one. And I think Justin Herbert's going to be humble in this game. I think the Browns are going to crush him. I got Browns. And I said Browns. I said it twice. Let me go back here. Clowns. No, now Browns 42, Chargers 17.
It's being recorded. It's being recorded. There's no way around it, man. You said it. You said it.
I'm just doing. Hey, remember, I'm just the hype man here. I'm just doing what I got to do to get Chuck on the show. So I'm kidding. I really do mean it.
All right. So for our last game, that we had to save the best for last. I personally wanted to save. I even had it on my list. I personally wanted to save Mr. Ellis's favorite quarterback that plays for the Buffalo Bills. His number one quarterback, Josh Allen. His favorite quarterback. So for this game, the Chiefs are 2-2. No one would ever expect this from the Chiefs. Definitely expect an explosion of offense, that I usually say, but the Chiefs defense is going to definitely have to be on point, But I have this game going in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. This may be crazy, but I have the Chiefs winning this game by a score of 28-10.
This Bills offense is putting the ball in the end zone at will. It is insane at how well they're playing offense. And their defense is just playing well. They're just shutting people out. They embarrassed my football team. Kind of still sore over that loss. And last week you saw them demolish the Texans 40-0. The Texans are still an NFL team, so that's pretty impressive. And as for the Kansas City Chiefs, their defense is horrible. Like, I don't know what happened to their defense. It just got exposed. It's been getting exposed. And it's looking hard for Patrick Mahomes to start covering up for his lackluster defense and Tyreek Hill to show up. I have the Bills winning this game. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I have the Bills winning this 42-35.
Buffalo's been red hot this season, averaging a monster 39 points per game. But even in like in addition to that, Kansas City's defense has been pretty suspect this season. You know, they haven't been the greatest defense we've seen in like during the Patrick Mahomes era. But I think the sheer playmaking ability from this KC offense, Kelsey, Mahomes, Tyreek Hill coming off for a great game against Philly. I think that's what's going to keep them in the game. Give me KC 34-24.
You know, you mentioned the Bills are averaging 39 points. I have a note here. They got 2 shutouts. I mean, they haven't really played anybody. You know, they shut out Houston. They shut out the Dolphins. They really haven't played anybody. Now, that being said, what they did last year showed me that they can win. They can put up points. They can play defense when they have to. You guys mentioned the Chiefs have no defense. They've never had defense. I mean, they won that Super Bowl on with their offense, and Jimmy G and the Niners just not being choking in the clutch. So I don't really think that their defense has ever done much for them. And so you look at this game, and this is strange to say. This is a big game for the Chiefs. Like, they need a win at home. They need this week. So, you know, Mahomes has 8 touchdown passes, 3 picks in the last 3 games. One of them basically a scrimmage against the Eagles. So if he throws it 30 times like he does against Philly, they're in good shape. 44 times like he does against the Chargers, the chances get slimmer and slimmer because he's just throwing the ball around too much. And the Bills, you know, their defense can put pressure on when they need to. And, you know, I know the Chiefs have the revamped offensive line, but I know it's also tough to beat a desperate team at home. But I like the Bills in this one. I think this is some payback for that AFC title game. I think the Bills are hungry, and I've seen them choke for years. But I think when it comes to this week, I think I got the Bills winning this one 30-28 in what is going to be a good game.
Boy, let's pretend there's like a clone of me back here because I'm going to say something somewhat similar here, Mr. Woodward. I had this crazy feeling that this Chiefs team looks like the Steelers of 2006, you know, or the Steelers 2011, even like, you know, these teams like, you know, the Super Bowl loser or the Super Bowl hangover winner, they just don't look right. And I don't know how you really explain it, but in a game like this, you're right. I think the Bills are the hungrier team right now. I feel like the Chiefs are playing very complacent. I mean, they failed to put away Baltimore when they could have, right? Defense was ugly in the Philadelphia game. And then you lost at home to the Chargers. Now, granted, they're an upcoming team, but that should not have happened, right? I'm taking Buffalo low scoring, 20-17. It's going to be an ugly game, but I got the Bills. Hang on, I still think at the end they're not going to do anything, but as of right now, they're looking pretty good.
All right, so those are all of our predictions for the game. So we have Mr. Woodward, the guy outside there every day outside at lunch, he does his little daily stretches.
Who gave you the mute button there, Mr. Woodward? We didn't get to hear you get roasted there. What happened?
Who has Lamar Jackson for a QB? Then there's me, where my team doesn't know the word called defense. Until next time, PBHS Edge out.